Hey, I'm Supats, lifelong solopreneur. Now living my life with only one passion to help solopreneurs to launch their digital products on fast track so that they can be profitable as fast as within 1 week, and they want to scale, they can join the membership. And as a bonus, I show them how they can sell their digital products all over the world using affiliates. Without further delay, let's get started. Welcome to New Beginning Inspiration for You podcast. And as you know, by now you must be knowing that I have main pillars in my life: spirituality, business, and health. And when all these pillars are intact, everything is really well structured. And I interviewed many people, they are pursuing spirituality. I also interviewed people who have been health coach, and of course lots of business owners, but I never interviewed anyone who is combining all these three pillars and helping people, yeah, in a big way. And it is really my honor to, yeah, introduce Julia Rajgopalan, because I looked at her profile and I was really intrigued immediately, because she brings all the ancient knowledge of spirituality and health, and she's helping entrepreneurs. So she's the complete package, means now you listen to her, I don't think you will need anything anymore, because that is how I'm looking forward to interviewing her. And without further delay, let me invite Julia, stage is all yours. I want to know more about your story and success. How did you get started? How did you get started into this field? Because many times when I dealt with people who pursue spirituality has been looked upon like, once you are done everything with your career, once you retire, you get into spirituality. And I totally oppose that. But I want to know your opinion and your experience about that.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for having me. It's such a pleasure to talk to you. And I agree. For a very long time, I was very separate in my lives. I have my work life over here. I had my health and my personal life, my spiritual life, and they were so separate. And I took a job years ago at a wellness company. Okay. And what we did was we helped coach people in how to get healthier, right? Your nutrition coaches, things like that. And I read through, I'm not kidding, thousands and thousands of interactions between coaches and their clients. And one thing I learned very quickly was that people know essentially what they should be doing to be healthy, right? Like they know they should be walking more and sitting less. They know they should be eating lean proteins and leafy greens and not, processed food full of fat and carbs and things like that, and sugar. They know that, but they don't do it. And I was so intrigued as to why, you know. And I think there are a variety of reasons. And the fact is, it's unique to each person, you know. So what I found was, people get busy. Number one, oh, it's easier just to grab something, right? I'm totally guilty of that. So it requires some planning sometimes, but also, I do think that people weren't in the right mindset, and in many cases, so much of our health revolves around what's going on in our minds, and so I've found that a lot of people will like use these little tricks, right, to like give themselves an easy time, right, or like little tricks in their mind to cheat, whatever that means. So they'll say, oh well, there's one thing we call the all or nothing mindset. And they'll say, oh well, I had a donut for breakfast, so today is just ruined, so I'm gonna eat whatever I want today. And that's a joke. I'm totally guilty of this. So guilty of this.
Oh, you're talking my husband's language because we started day today and he was asking me, "Are you going to eat this?" I said,
Mhm,
"No."
mhm.
Oh, he said, "Today's Saturday." I said, "So?" It doesn't matter. So I really, okay, go ahead. Sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, totally. And because this is in our minds, it's not about just telling people what to do, like, oh, here are your macros, here are your calories that you need to eat today. Now go do it. That's not going to work for our health. And, beyond eating, there's so many aspects of our health that are so important. Our stress levels, our sleep, all of these things. And for years and years, I've practiced sort of um, an eclectic form of spirituality, right? I call it witchcraft because I don't have a better word for it. And I was in an interview the other day and someone's like, "Oh, you're like a good witch," and I'm like, "Yeah, I suppose I am." And yeah, and I think one thing that we do when we practice a lot of these spiritual rituals and practices is that we really look at our mindset. We think about why we're doing something. We think about, what our goal is when we do a ritual or something like that, right? And I think that needs to come into play in our health journeys a lot more than it is right now. For many of us, we want to combine these things. And I practice yoga. I've practiced yoga for like 20 years. I became a yoga teacher actually in India. I lived in India for 3 years. Yeah.
All
Yeah,
right.
yeah. My husband's originally from Mumbai. And
Mumbai. I'm from Mumbai
oh, really?
too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So he grew up, well, his parents are still in Ghatkopar. So I don't know what neighborhood you're in, but yeah, they're still in Ghatkopar right now. Um,
Oh, okay. Oh, I know that place.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, a little bit outside.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, so we lived in Delhi for 3 years because he was transferred
Mm-hmm.
there for work. Um, but yeah, so I got to like learn yoga from the home of yoga. I learned vinyasa and yin yoga, and I practice yoga on the Ganges River. And so much of life, I feel like in India, is very spiritual. And in the States, we have this like, again, I'm going to go back to the all or nothing mindset. Like, oh, I have to do yoga for a full hour. And if I don't, well, then I just can't do it. I'm not going to do it at all. And I feel like in India, I noticed when people were walking around, we'd go for a walk and people would stop for a minute. They'd do maybe 2 minutes of yoga, do a few things, and then they'd move on with their walk. You know,
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
in my
Which
neighbor,
year you were in India?
I was in Delhi, in Vasant Vihar. So it's a really nice.
Yeah, but which year?
Oh, it was right before the pandemic.
Oh, right. Oh, so you were in India recently because I
Eh,
left India long, long
Oh,
back.
okay.
I visit quite often,
Yeah.
but yeah, I haven't seen this, so I'm intrigued. So tell me
Yeah,
more.
we
Yeah.
had a little park right in the middle of our neighborhood. And so everyone would walk around the park, and then you'd see people doing yoga, or you'd see people doing yoga like on their balcony, right? And it wouldn't be like they're out there for an hour doing something. They'll do it for a few minutes and then they'll move on with their day. And I thought this is really important when we're talking about our health journeys. Like, it doesn't need to be like a full hour of power yoga, and that's the only way I'm going to get healthy, or like I got to go running for 30 minutes. No, you can include some of these things in your daily life and you will get healthier. And so for me, understanding the mindset, including, you know, not just yoga, but like spirituality and things like that are really important. So one of the little witchy rituals that I do is something called a spell jar. And I'm going to hold this up to you. So it's a little glass jar for those of you who can't see it. And it has some crystals in it. It has some cinnamon, some herbs. And then what I do is I write down a little thing on a piece of paper, right? As to what I want, what I want the spell jar to do for me. So this one is all about making healthy choices. So I wrote down making healthy choices. I put it in here, and then I sealed it off with wax. Okay. And then I did a little incantation or something like that. But what I actually do with this is I take this jar and I put it in my car and I leave it there to remind myself to make healthy choices when I'm driving around. So I don't go through the drive through. I love Taco Bell. It's delicious. It does not love me. I will not feel great afterward. So, I go in there and I keep this in my car to remind myself, like, hey, I want to make healthy choices today. And if you look at it from like the science of behavioral change, we call that an environmental cue, right? So this is something that's in our environment that's going to trigger a behavior. And in my case, I'm trying to trigger a good behavior or, at least a healthier behavior. I don't like to put good or bad on these things. But, I think by combining this idea of spirituality and then some of the science of behavior change, we can really start to make progress in our healthy choices. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, that makes perfectly sense because and means giving a spirituality background and means because mindset is so important.
Mhm.
And yeah, you explained it so well. Yeah, it is all or nothing, and that is really so wrong. And especially for entrepreneurs, your points are so important because they are sitting at the desk for 8 hours, maybe even 10 hours. Yeah, but
Totally.
every time if they get up from the yeah, means their desk, even if they stretch little bit of hamstring, little bit of calves and some shoulders and all, still that will be so helpful and life changing for them. And they may not be able to shell full 1 hour in their life because of their routine, but every time they get out of desk, even if they stretch for a couple of minutes, 5 minutes, it will be bringing health in their life, and it is so important.
Mhm.
And I really want to tell solopreneurs and entrepreneurs, health is so important because Steve Jobs' last write-up was full of regrets, and he said that people thought that I had a really amazing life, but he said people don't know that I didn't pursue my hobby, I didn't have friends, and I can trade everything except the sick bed. And so means I don't. That's why means solopreneurs actually means I have such a soft corner for them because they wear so many hats. And really many solopreneurs they give it 40 hours of job to work 80 hours at their
Oh
business.
yeah.
So I really feel they need to be rewarded, and that's why this holistic approach is so important because yeah, you and I, we want them to have really fulfilled life, holistic life. And means yeah, if you make money and if you lose health, what's the use, right? Because that is what
Okay.
people say, that they run after money, and by the time they make money, they realize that they don't have health, and then whatever money they made, they just give it to the yeah, may healthcare
Yeah.
to yeah, make the health better. But healthcare is also designed in such a way nowadays that they are not going for the root cause,
Yeah.
they are just trying to mask the symptom. And your approach is so great because you are going for the root cause.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
And I firmly believe if you feel better, you're able to do more. You're able to
oh
work
yeah.
harder, you're able to work smarter. I notice I love connections, right? The little game on the New York Times. And I've noticed when I try to do it late at night, I can never figure it out, right? It's so I'm like, I can't do it. And then I wake up, I
Yeah.
get a good night's sleep. I wake up in the morning, I'm like, oh, this is so obvious, you know? So things like our health and our wellness are sleep. So I have a whole chapter. I created a Udemy course based on all of this. And then I created a workbook to go along with it. And I have a whole chapter on sleep. Okay. Because
Wow.
sleep is so important. It's not just about eating. It's not just about like exercising. There are lots of things that impact our wellness, and sleep is one of the big ones. And, for me, I have some bad habits around my sleep. Like I stay up too late, I play on my phone right before I fall asleep, and study after study has shown it's not good for you. It's not good for your sleep. So a big thing for me is like trying to get back to the spirituality of sleep, right? So making healthier choices around maybe setting down my phone and picking up a book and using some things like essential oils, lavender and other essential oils are really important in helping us with sleep and creating what we call sleep habits or sleep rituals. Because I firmly believe that we have, for thousands of years, created these rituals that help us in our daily lives. And I don't think they're just spiritual. I think they actually physically help us sometimes. You have a puja in the morning, and I think you feel better about your day. You have in the evening, sometimes people pray and they feel better about and less anxiety. So I think these like physically actually, and I think like science shows they physically actually help us like get through our day. In many cases really reduce stress. So for some of us who maybe aren't super religious anymore, I'm not religious anymore in a structural way. I don't go to I grew up in the church, and I don't go anymore. But I really do like these rituals of, maybe saying a little mantra before bed, trying to get rid of some of my worries, doing things that get me in the habit of going to sleep. So some of it can be as simple as putting lotion on your face, washing your face, putting lotion on your face, or it could be a nice sleep mantra to help you sleep. So I think these physical things, once we get our sleep, once we get our rest, allow us to perform at our peak. And that's so important, especially for entrepreneurs.
Yeah, I really loved your points because you said morning puja.
Mhm.
So that is means you're starting your day with the gratitude and you are invoking the positive vibes into your life.
Mhm.
So means your day is going to go really well, no doubt about it.
Mhm.
And you talked about the religious, and I also always mention I'm not religious, but I'm spiritual
Same.
because I've studied many religions,
Mhm.
and so means I know from my family means everybody followed Sanatan Dharma, but my
Okay.
husband went to Catholic school, my kids went to Christian
Okay.
school, so I studied Bible, and
Mhm.
I was into part of a business where all the training was based only on Bible, and
Oh,
it didn't bother me
yeah.
because the principles were the same, only the names are different. Then I studied Buddhism in great details, and I studied many other
Yeah.
religions. Nothing bothered me because even stories are same,
Oh, I
the
agree.
names are
Yeah.
different, even the stories
Yeah.
are same. So I said, oh, I have no idea why these people are
I
fighting
don't
my religion, your religion, because
know.
you really don't own anything. Everything is created by a creator, and
Mhm.
but hey, people are fighting. I'm just doing my part. And mantra again, it is the same thing because every mantra
Mhm.
uh, creates that means a vibe which is needed for your that particular. Yeah, for example, if you chant Ganesh mantra, Ganesh,
Mhm.
it's basically that it's designed to get rid of obstacles in your life. So means so that is how it works. So each mantra has its own significance,
Absolutely.
and you also mentioned about the sleep habits,
Yeah.
and my daughter and I, yeah, we were really bad at this because
Yeah.
for me means I just kept on working, and
Mhm.
I didn't look at the clock, and my husband would really get angry, why aren't you sleeping on time and all, and I would totally ignore him. But then
Right.
what happened, my daughter got cats, and now I have two
Oh,
cats,
no.
and my cats are, if I stay in my office after
Yeah.
11 p.m., they would sit and they will meow continuously until I
No.
stop working and leave the office.
That's so cute.
So
I love it.
my cats taught
No.
me the work life
Oh
balance.
my goodness.
And even if no, this Saturday morning it is okay,
Yeah.
but if they see that my whole family is sitting in the family room and watching TV, and if I'm in the office, they would come and meow me, and they will keep on doing it unless and until I leave the office and go and join my
That's
family.
so cute.
So means my, oh yeah, my cat got um yeah, my family life and balance back.
Yeah.
But no, my elder daughter, she moved out, and she always had the sleep problem, and I think she got it from me, because my husband, he can sleep on demand
Nice.
anytime,
My
even
husband
during
too. Yeah.
afternoon. Even in the afternoon. So my daughter, actually, now she's independent, she moved out,
Mhm.
and then
Yeah.
sometimes I get her text like 4 a.m. in the
Oh my
morning. So I asked her, so are you
Mhm.
you didn't go to sleep, or you are just waking up early?
Mhm.
So then once she replied, she said, "Mummy, I can never wake up early."
Mhm.
So
I hear
I said,
that.
okay. So she
Yeah.
hadn't gone to sleep till 4 a.m. and I had taken her to
Weird.
various doctors,
Mhm.
and doctors gave the ritual that, okay, 2 hours before the sleep time,
Yeah.
no screen
Mhm.
time, and then basically no bright lights and everything. So I asked her, do you follow all these things? She said, "Mommy, do you think I'm following all those?
It
If I follow those, then I would be sleeping." And the lavender actually really helps, because I
does.
have it, and sometimes I'm too excited to sleep sometimes,
Yeah.
and then that lavender, actually that essential oil, even if I just take couple of drops actually
Mhm.
near my nostrils, I sleep like a baby. It's really amazing. So your every tip, it is so useful. I just cannot means emphasize enough.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm so glad. Yeah, I have a little lavender spray that I spray on my pillow, and I think it triggers my mind again to say, like, okay, it's time to go to bed, and it's really important, and like I said, I do a lot of things with like uh sort of rituals and things like that and spiritual. We have one that is really popular. You've probably seen it on, TikTok or Instagram, where at the first of every month, this is a good one for entrepreneurs. So at the first of every month, you go outside your house, okay? And you take some cinnamon and you put it in your hand. And then you open the door and you blow the cinnamon into the door and you say, like, I invite prosperity to enter this house. Like, I invite like wealth and money to come in. And it's supposed to be a manifestation ritual for wealth. And I think
Oh, I didn't know that. This is really good. I want to know more.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
tell
So it's
me.
on the first of every month that you're supposed to do
Uh-huh.
because it's supposed to it's so you're sort of resetting every month. The other thing I like to add to it though,
So first of every month you take cinnamon, and then what to do?
ground cinnamon, you go
Uh-huh.
outside and you open your
Uh-huh.
front door, okay? And then you
Uh-huh.
blow the cinnamon into the door and then you say you could
So means basically you blow the cinnamon inside your
yeah,
house or outside?
inside, you blow it
Inside your.
in. Yep. And,
Okay.
and you say, like, I'm
Uh-huh.
inviting prosperity to enter this house. I'm inviting wealth to enter here. You can make up whatever you want, or you could do a mantra that you already know, whatever you want that's focused around, like, inviting prosperity and manifestation. And the thing I always do with it is I write down one thing I'm going to do to actively improve my finances. So,
Whoo.
because I firmly believe that, it's magic, but it's also not. So we've got to pair it with like our help, and we have to help the universe along, right? Like just blowing cinnamon, I'm not sure that's going to do, what we want it to do. But if we say like, okay, this month I'm going to eat out less. I'm going to cook at home and I'm not going to go out to restaurants like 3 times a week. Like we get a little bad about that, so I'm going to cook at home and I'm only going to eat out, like twice this month or something, and set some sort of goal or some sort of plan, right? And then you can make sure that you're following that along with your manifestation, along with your ritual, so that we're actively helping the universe along, right? Because, you know, I think that both of those things are important.
No, this is really good. Means I'm going to start practicing it immediately.
Yeah,
It is really amazing. It is just a simple trick, and
mhm,
if it can help you, why not, right? And
exactly.
yeah, you mentioned about the sleep time, and initially it really was not a problem because there was no electricity. So in the evening, the everything is dark. People had no choice but to go to sleep, and now Nowadays means the parties only start like 10 p.m.
Yeah,
And just imagine if you live that kind of life, then where are you following the natural cycle of the
exactly.
universe and the nature? It is not happening.
No, and I really do think a lot of some of these ancient things that these, well, like for example chakras, you know I those some of these things and theories have been around for a very, very long time, and I suspect they were things that people observed, and they just didn't have the science to understand it fully because they didn't have like electron microscopes or things like that back then. So they looked at these things and said, hey, these rituals are good for us, to get rest, right, to reduce our anxiety, and to understand what's going on in our bodies and in our minds. So another thing I use in my practice a lot is tarot cards. Have you ever had your tarot cards read?
No, actually,
It's
but
so
it sounds very interesting because my husband is a YouTube junkie,
okay.
and then uh, so uh, so I think at the beginning of the year he was
Mhm.
on YouTube and he was seeing, okay, what can be the possible,
Yeah,
yeah, this year how it is going to be, and then that video came and I said, oh, it looks interesting. So
yeah.
he did for himself, but I never did. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so fun. And tarot cards are really cool. They've been around for hundreds of years, and some people say even longer. Um, but they have these sort of specific archetypes, right? So you pick a card and it tells you what it means. And you can have someone else read for you, or you can read for yourself. And what I think is really cool about it is, people say that it predicts the future, and I think that's entirely possible. But what I also think is really important about tarot cards is that it tells us about ourselves. So you'll pick a card, and I'll give you an example. You can choose the death card, right? And everyone's scared of the death card. It's like, oh no, someone's going to die. But that's actually not what it always means. Sometimes it just means something in your life needs to end, right? So,
Yeah, something bad needs to be. Yeah,
mm-hmm.
surely. Yeah.
Yep. And so maybe it's something like you need to leave your job, right? Your job is making you miserable, and you want to become an entrepreneur. So maybe it's time to leave your job and start over, or maybe you need to get out of a bad relationship, right? So what I've noticed is when people, when you read for other people, or when they read for themselves, they kind of know what this card means, so because if you think about it, we are bombarded with like so many pieces of information. Like even just sitting here, there are thousands of things I'm looking at that don't go into my conscious mind. They get buried in my subconscious, right? So I think tarot kind of helps us bring some of these important things to our conscious mind. And Jung and some other psychiatrists, psychologists have some similar theories. And so, we pull up the death card and we look at it and like, oh, you know what? Yeah, maybe I do need to end my relationship because he never texts me back. Or like, he's not very nice. And maybe it's these tiny little things that aren't a big thing, but in our subconscious, we are knowing like already what we need to do. So to me, tarot is a great way to like look at that and say, yeah, here's what I know. I remember this, and this is where I'm gonna go next. So I think it's
I should get my reading done.
it's
Yeah. It
very,
looks sounds very interesting.
very
Yeah.
fun.
So
And so in my workbook, I actually have a tarot spread for each topic area. So spreads are how we lay out the cards. So you can choose one card. Sometimes people choose a dozen cards, and you lay them in different ways to ask specific questions. Okay. And so like I have a spread based on like sleep. Like what do I need to rest? And I have a spread about making wellness choices and something we call our wellness story. So we create these stories about ourselves and who we are. So I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a solopreneur, I am a wellness expert, I am, a yoga teacher. I'm a certified nutritionist, right? And like those are sort of stories about myself. But in many cases, we tell stories about our health behaviors. So, oh, I don't eat that food because it's gross, or oh, I don't eat that food, because it's just not what I eat. And so I think exploring some of these stories, exercise is a big one for me. And I remember my mother was always like, well, I'm not a runner. And she would always extend it to like, well, we're not runners. And I'm like, well, why are we not runners? Anyone can run, maybe not very far,
Yeah.
maybe not very far or very long, but anyone can run. So like I, for years told myself, oh, I'm not a runner. My body's not designed to be a runner. And then I started jogging and I'm like, hey, this isn't so bad, like, so I think sometimes we have these stories that other people put on us and they're not always healthy. And sometimes like it's society or culture that puts on us, right? Like, oh, women shouldn't sweat. That's gross. Like
Men shouldn't cry.
men
Yeah.
shouldn't cry. Precisely.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's not healthy. And I think number one, we have to understand these stories and understand what they are, and then actively say, like, okay, it's okay for men to cry. It's okay for women to sweat. Like everyone sweats. We're
Hmm.
human. Like,
Yeah. We are human beings, right? All are human beings. Why are you putting them into bracket?
exactly.
Yeah.
So true. So I have a whole chapter based on our stories and understanding our stories and then getting rid of the ones that don't serve us, which is, I think, really important.
Yeah, I really am interested in your workbook, and especially for my daughter,
Oh,
because if she still has problem with sleep, and I'll just tell her, this is your homework, do it.
love
And
it.
so yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I really feel me she should bring some change in her life, because in my case no, actually, yeah, means no, my routine is better. Me, I don't want her to be waiting that long to
Yeah,
get her routine, yeah, in
I
order, because
understand.
yeah, sleep is so important, and overall whole life and healthy living. And why do you call yourself witchy spiritual? So because witch means, I just remember, oh, okay, Harry Potter and all those kinds of movies, so
Yeah.
it doesn't put into my, yeah, visualization, that picture. So yeah,
Yeah.
please tell me.
No, I didn't have a label for what I was doing. That was the thing, because I'm like, this isn't yoga. I practice yoga, but I feel like that's a separate thing. And I wasn't sure like what my religion was or what my spirituality was. And then I started doing some research, and there were a lot of people saying, hey, this is kind of like an old form of witchcraft, like these spell jars that I do. And, my sister and I do fire rituals where we'll like have a little bonfire and we'll write down one thing we want to get rid of and we'll burn it in the fire and we'll say how we're going to get rid of it. And we were doing all these things. And then I heard like the phrase, oh, this is like witchcraft. This is like being a witch. And when I finally said it, I felt like a sense of power, like because in Christianity witches were burned at the stake. They were,
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
it was bad. And so being
Yeah.
able to say that sort of to me felt really freeing and helped me like put a name to something that was so large and kind of broad. And it also kind of helped me take some power back. I felt, like, hey, this is what I am and this is fun. And that's the other thing I think that is really important to me. Have fun with your wellness. It should not be a chore all the time. There are a lot of things in life we have to do. We have to pay taxes. We just paid taxes. We have to like go to work. We have to like do all this stuff. And I don't think your wellness should be one of those things that should be like miserable and painful all the time. It should not be a drag. It should be fun because transformation is amazing. It's fun, and study after study has shown, and like also common sense shows that if something's fun, we're more likely to do it. right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely right.
You
Yeah.
know, so if we treat something as a chore, we're not going to do it. But if we treat like going for a walk as the fun thing that it can be, then we are more likely to actually do it, you know? And for me, I think identity is important. So a big thing that we talk about when we make health choices is changing your understanding of yourself. It's your story or your identity, right? So if you want long-term change, I mean, anyone can change anything for a couple weeks and say like, I'm going to power
Oh,
through
yeah.
this. You know, I'm going to make sure like I, lift weights for like a million hours a day. Anyone can do that for a couple of weeks. But if you want long-lasting change, you really have to change who you are and what you're thinking, right? So for me, like saying like, okay, I'm a witchy person who goes for these long walks in the woods and collects like, pine cones and brings them home. That was a really fun way for me to get exercise, but also enjoy, the process. When I'm running, I use an app that is really fun. It actually has a bunch of stories as you go running. And some of the stories are based around zombies. And so periodically the zombies will chase you as you're running. And it's so fun. And I can't make myself run any other way. But when I hear the zombies, I'm like, oh, I better run. So it's this really cool app. And I think finding ways to make our health journey enjoyable, our wellness journey, is going to be really important. So to me, like being witchy is kind of fun. You have all these cool things that you get to do. You get these little craft projects and witchcraft, like and spells that you get to do. And I think what's really nice about it is witchcraft is very individualized. So I've read these lists online where there are like 40 different kinds of witches. My sister calls herself a kitchen witch. So, because she's a chef. So she does all this stuff in the kitchen, and I think of myself more as like an eclectic witch. I do all sorts of things. Some people are garden or green witches. So they're always outside in their gardens. So it can be really tailored to who you are and what's important to you. And I think that is the most important thing in your health and wellness journey and in your entrepreneurial journey, because what works for some people doesn't work for other people. I'm sure you've seen that. And so like some people get up 4 a.m, and your daughter and I are probably going to bed. Not gonna work
Yeah.
for everyone. So I think being able to tailor these things to our individual lives is so important, and making it fun. Make your journey fun. That's the most important thing.
I loved your points. Basically, individualized. So you are not putting everyone into the same basket and then they have to follow only those rules, because then it becomes very static and then people resist.
Exactly.
Why should I follow? Because this is not my passion. And so if it is individualized, yeah, there are more chances of people following it.
Yeah.
And I love the idea of fun.
Mhm.
I remember I created my business offer and sales page. I was getting reviewed by other people
Okay.
because I was part
Yeah.
of many masterminds and all. And there I mentioned that fun, I think couple of times. And then I got the feedback saying, you know, I don't find fun in the business. If I want to have fun, I will have fun with my friends. Business is like my task and chore. I say, and I was really means flabbergasted. And then I say, oh my goodness, I said it might be your opinion, but
Mhm.
I would like to have fun, because if I'm going to spend one third of my day into doing, or even maybe more,
Right.
then I should enjoy it, right? And then I got the same sales page reviewed by other people and other people were okay with it. So
Yeah.
it's maybe only few people's perspective. And another thing, me and my husband, actually both of us are very health conscious. So initially when we were cooking, many times what happened, I cooked separately for kids,
Mhm.
because just made all the American dishes for them,
Okay.
and then I did the healthy dishes for us, because I was not sure whether the kids would accept those things or not.
Mm.
And then my kids started asking, okay, what you made for yourself? We want to taste it. We want to try
Oh,
it.
good.
And yeah, and then my younger daughter, she ate and she said, "Oh my goodness, this is tasting so good. It really doesn't feel healthy." So I said, "What do you mean by that?" She said, "Have you tried healthy stuff?" She said, "So no, actually, I don't have separate food for them. No,
Good.
they also eat. Yeah, so
Yeah.
everything means all the healthy choices, even they do. And no, actually, they are more health conscious than
Oh,
us."
that's so
Because
good.
no, if anything, any point, they have more information and they tell me. So
Yeah.
it's so, it feels so good that
Mm.
especially on these principles, these basic values,
Mhm.
means multi generation, means we are agreeing on the same thing. And because, as you said, I'm following mostly like my grandma and my mom's footsteps
Yeah, yeah.
and creating more healthy choices, and my kids are also following that, and that's really very fulfilling.
That's so awesome. That's such a great success story. And
Yeah.
I think again, it's one of those stories we tell ourselves, oh, healthy food has to taste bad. Healthy food has to be gross. And you're like, no, no. If you include healthy foods from a variety of different cultures, you can make it really tasty. It doesn't have to be like a sad iceberg lettuce, That's the only thing that's healthy. Like that is the
Yeah.
story, and I think we need to like let that go. Yeah, my husband's vegetarian, and I'm not. And so what we do is I'll cook like some chickpeas, some chana masala or something. And I forced him to move from white rice to brown rice. That was my thing. I was like, you have to eat brown rice now, because his blood sugar is crazy. But I'll make myself some chicken to go along with it, and then I'll have the chicken along with my chana, And I think that being able to be flexible with these things is really important. So yeah, I'm with you. And oh man, I love Indian food. So good. He introduced me to chat, which is not necessarily healthy, but like,
No, you can make healthy chat.
oh really?
You know,
What?
you can put sprouts in it, and you can even make chaat just out of sprouts and all, or even just chana chaat. There are so many chaat recipes you won't believe.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
found
you
a
can
guy
go.
who does like I guess it's keto, but I know for me it's like low carb puff bhaji. And so instead of using potatoes, he used cauliflower, and we do it all the time now. It's so good.
Yeah. Yeah, and pav bhaji is actually favorite dish. So that is what means my daughter is coming next
Uh,
weekend. So we are going to make pav bhaji because her boyfriend, actually everybody loves it,
it's so good.
and her boyfriend is like that. This is a vegetarian dish, and how come it tastes so good? Because according to him, only the meat should taste good,
Yep.
and he's vegetarian dish. How come it is tasting good? I say okay, that is. So actually, you go on TikTok or even YouTube or even you Google. There are thousands of chat recipes, and
Okay.
yeah, some are really really healthy, and
Oh,
this simple shift, simple variation,
yeah.
and you can make it, yeah, very healthy,
Nice.
and it is tasty too. So
Oh,
yeah,
yeah, that's the important thing too, because again, if you don't enjoy something, you're not going to do it. So if you're just
yeah,
saying, "Oh, well, I have to eat only like, grilled chicken and broccoli every day, and that's only what's healthy." Well, of course that's not going to last because you're going to be like, "Get
yeah.
me out of here. I need a cheeseburger or
I'm
something.
done with
I
it.
need something with
Yeah,
comfort." So if we want long-term health changes, we've got to
yeah.
make sure we're enjoying them. Yeah,
Oh yeah,
I'm with
yeah,
you.
yeah. Absolutely. So you mentioned about tarot, and you also mentioned about yoga.
Yeah, yeah.
So are these two totally separate fields, or do they have anything in common?
Yeah, I kind of found a way to enjoy both of them at the same time. And I actually have a little worksheet. If you go to my website and you can put your email address in, and I'll send a little
Yeah,
booklet. And it talks about combining tarot and yoga because for me, I think I like to you'll need a tarot deck, first of all, before you do anything, and a yoga mat probably. But for me, I think they are very similar in how they help us deal with the world around us, because like, for anyone who practices yoga, you'll know that many of the things you learn on the mat, you take off the mat, right? So I actually started doing yoga back in undergrad. I was having panic attacks because I was about to graduate and it was very scary. Like, oh, I have to start my life now. And so I was having these panic attacks. And one thing that, I went to like the counselor at the school and they said like, hey, have you tried yoga? Because you need to try like yogic breathing. Because I found that I was breathing like a little hunched over, just taking these shallow breaths, and I was making it worse. So, yoga taught me to actually breathe, which sounds crazy, but I wasn't breathing properly. Taking deep belly breaths, sitting back with my shoulders back so I could take deep breaths, and taking a minute to breathe and calm down. And, it really helped me with my anxiety. And I realized that, I thought yoga was just sort of something, again, you did on the mat. It's a lot of push-ups and like, then you balance and then you're done. But it really, I found yoga helped me process the world once I got off the mat, and it helped me deal with things in a way that was more mindful. But also, it helped me process what is going on. And I find similar things in tarot. So tarot helps me think about like what my next step is, right? So if I find myself going, okay, well, like what is my week going to look like? Sometimes I'll pull out my tarot deck and I'll put down 3 cards and I'll say, okay, what do I need from this week? And sometimes the cards are like, yes, this is exactly what you need. And it helps me think about like, well, what is my plan of attack? What do I need to accomplish for this week? So being able to take the time to sit down and think about these things is really important. Taking the time to move, taking the time to be more mindful. And I think both practices do something like that. Because in many cases, especially for like us solopreneurs, we are running around trying to get so much done in the course of the day. We're answering all these emails, we're doing all these, we're sending this out, we're doing this, we're doing that. And we don't take the time to say like, okay, what is my strategy? What is my plan? What is the most important thing I need to do this week? And how can I make sure I'm focusing on the most important thing? So I think being able to take the time to do that, to think about it, is really, really important. And I think both of the practices do that. So, yeah.
So you mentioned a lot about solopreneurs. So to whom do you help? Who are the people who can really benefit from your offerings?
Yeah, absolutely. So I have a Udemy course and people can go on
Mm-hmm.
and take the course and there are lots of cool little videos and worksheets for every single chapter. It's designed to go over the course of several weeks so that it's not like something you kind of blast through, but you can print out the worksheets and kind of slowly change your habits. And again, always do this with like a healthcare professional, in talking to your doctor. And then also, I have the workbook that you can get on Amazon. And it's really nice because it can help a variety of different people. And I do say, this isn't for everyone. Not everyone is like, I'm into witchcraft, I'm into spiritual stuff. And that's okay because there are lots of offerings. There are tons of gyms where you can go and lift lots of weights and like, take like a, kickboxing class. But for me and for people I think who want to approach their wellness in a different way, in a more spiritual way, in a way that is maybe more sustainable and long term. I think this is for people like that, who maybe are like a little witchy, or I like to say witch adjacent, because you have all these spiritual practices and you want to combine these things because they're all important to you. And so for me, I think it's working with people like that who want to change their wellness habits and want to combine these things because I think they are all really important.
So where can they find you?
Yeah, absolutely. Uh, I'm online. You can follow me on Instagram at Healthy Witch Wellness. And then you can also go to my website, healthywitchwellness.com. And I can send over all those links too. And then you can get sign up for my newsletter and get the tarot yoga workbook, which is really cute. And then, you can see all sorts of recipes and spells on the Instagram site. You can see like get the spell for the little spell jars. There are several of them. So yeah, those are the best places. And you can always email me, healthywitchwellness@gmail.com. Yeah.
So, what is next for you? What is your next plan?
Yeah, I getting the workbook out was huge, and I'm so happy that that's done. And I also want to, encourage my wellness journey, right? So I want to run a 5K. I'm not a very good runner, but I still enjoy it, And so like I want to do that, but also, I'm working on getting my novel published. So I have a cozy horror novel that I've been shopping around to agents. So that is a big thing that I've been working on. And, just in Michigan, it gets a little cold here. So I'm going to enjoy the summer, go out kayaking and have fun.
Yeah, that. So I asked whatever I wanted to
Mhm.
ask, and but in case I missed out on something and you want to add, feel free to do so.
Yeah, yeah. I think the big thing for me is to make sure that we're enjoying our wellness journey and having some fun with it, because I think that we want our wellness journeys to be long term. We don't want them to be, this, okay, like make myself miserable for a couple of weeks and then fall off, like fall to the side. So to me, I'm like, we want our changes, our health changes to be long term and just have some fun with it. Enjoy yourself. Don't make yourself miserable to do this, because it doesn't have to be like that. Healthy food, vegetarian food isn't yucky. It can be delicious, and exercise doesn't have to make you miserable if you find something that you love. So I think making sure that you enjoy your journey and finding those things is so important. And that's what Healthy Witch Wellness is all about. Combining the spiritual with the physical and finding a way to have fun. So thank you so much for
That is really amazing. That is really amazing. Thanks a lot for coming and blessing our community, our family. Yeah, and keep up the great work because this is
having
so important. And yeah, you are bringing, yeah, awareness into spiritual minds about even the health and business, and you are combining all these three main factors into their life. That is so amazing, and I applaud you for your work. And hey, I'm looking forward to the workbook. Yeah, I downloaded your tarot and
oh
yoga. Yeah, that
yeah.
checks it. So after our today's episode, first I'm going to go through that.
Okay.
Looks very interesting. Actually, my younger daughter, she's yoga instructor, so even
Um,
I will forward that to her.
yeah,
Yeah, so it sounds very
it's
interesting.
a lot
Yeah, and
of fun.
yeah, so thanks a lot. I really appreciate. Yeah,
Thank you for having me. It was so nice to talk to you, seriously.
yeah, same here. Thanks a lot for blessing our community. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
And yeah, so I just want to tell, yeah, so my message to my audience that yeah, listen to Julia. Means she has given actually nuggets after nuggets, and yeah, go to her website. Actually, the website will be there in the show notes and description and on. Please download the information and subscribe to her. Yeah, email list. She will be giving you many more tips in yeah coming up, and yeah, just find out, go through that workbook, and hey, if it can make your life better, why not? I'm going to do that. So I'm just telling you, if I'm going to do it, you should do it, because if it is going to help you, why not? She is pouring her heart, she's giving all her positive energy to us, and it is our time to give her something back. And actually, it's not we are just giving her back, we are giving ourselves also back, because we are giving ourselves the healthy life, quality life. And that is what we want, right? We want quality life, we just don't want quantity, right?
Mhm.
So thank you and God bless you.
Thank you.
Success stories from busy professionals just like you. I recently enrolled in the Master Resell Rights course from nuBeginning, and I cannot express how transformative this experience has been for me. Within my first week, I generated $4,000 in sales, by-step guidance, and comprehensive resources provided made setting up my digital business incredibly easy. The templates for sales pages and email campaigns were particularly helpful, allowing me to focus on marketing rather than getting bogged down in technical details. The community support was invaluable, providing motivation and answers to my questions in real time. I felt empowered and supported throughout the entire process. If you want to kickstart your online business and achieve tangible results quickly, I highly recommend the MRR course from nuBeginning. It's a game changer. Sujata R.
Hey, thanks for joining us. We are blessed to have you as part of our community, and whatever way we can help you, serve you, let us know. Please subscribe and let us know how we can help you, what resources you want. We have lots of free resources and also free collaboration joint venture groups you can join and explode your business, because most solopreneurs quit their business before they launch their first products, and I don't want that to happen to you. And that's why we have special launch service where you can monetize your digitals and become profitable as fast as within 7 days. And if you want to scale your business, join our membership nuBeginning Success Collaboration, where we'll provide you MRR and PLR products and collaborations so that you can scale your business with ease and effortlessly. And hey, if you want to sell your digitals all over the world, yes, we will provide you affiliates more than 200 countries. So everything is possible. Just live your dream, follow your dream, and whichever way we can help you, do let us know. Thank you and God bless you.